Good evening. Says good evening. I guess we just had church a few minutes ago with Bon Aaron. The pastor took everybody away, but they was here. Some of the members are still here, okay? It is 6 o'clock. We always start on time in District 8. Time is essence. And we're going to get started, and I still want to say, get a shout out to Pastor Mitchell and Bon Aaron's church for y'all to come out. I'm sorry they had to go back to church, and Wednesday, the church night, we do understand that, but we still have a little church at Singing Hill Rec Center Missionary Church, okay? Because with that, my name is Tenell Lacken, the Mayor Pro Tem. Welcome to Singing Hill Rec Center. And we are going to talk about the budget this year, and we also have Inner City Manager Kimberly Tolley here today, on time. So let's give it up to her. And we're going to do something different. There are 2 videos we're going to do, and what I'm going to do is something different. Since the city manager is here, she did a video, so I don't want to show her video since she's live. She can do her video live. Then we also had Jeanette, our budget person, go through the budget. So with that, I'm going to start with Inner City Manager Kimberly Tolley to do her recognition or presentation, okay? Thank you.
I just want y'all to know this is a nice facility.
Right on.
Thank you to our Mayor Pro Tem for hosting us this evening, and it's so wonderful to see all of you out. We came right from council meeting, and sorry that we're just a few minutes behind schedule, but welcome and good evening. I see a lot of our staff members in the very back, so I'm going to ask you guys, can y'all just let them see who you are? I want y'all to see how important you are to us, that we bring out everybody. There we go. That's our team. Thank you all so very much for being here this evening. And so we are excited to be able to present to you our proposed budget for 24-25. This has been an undertaking that we started earlier in the year. And I can tell you that this has been a complete team, collective effort. Our goal was to make absolutely sure that as we began the development of this budget, that we took in mind every single dollar that you spend in taxes. And we work to identify the best possible uses of your dollars, as well as how we can be more efficient, how we can be more proactive in resolving issues and being able to provide services for you, our residents. And so I want to share just one thing with you before we get started so I do not forget. The entire budget document is available on our website at dallas.gov. You can actually click on that link. It's right on the landing page. You can see the full document, all of the videos that you're going to see here this evening. All of that information is available at dallas.gov. And we want you to know that we're trying to increase our level of transparency. So we want to make sure that when you get home and you want to go back and refer to something in the budget, that you have that document available to you. Your feedback and your input through this process is critical. And that's the reason why we don't just take the opportunity to come and talk to you after we put the budget together, but we also spent time out in the community with our community survey to ask about your needs and what you would like to see as it relates to priorities, even before we developed the budget. So this is really an opportunity to grade our paper and see if we listened to you and took your feedback into consideration. The recommended budget for the upcoming fiscal year, and I'll just share this briefly, our fiscal year begins on October 1. And so that's when we would have this new budget come into effect. The goal right now is to have the City Council approve the budget on September the 18th. So our total budget, which includes our general fund, our enterprise funds, and all of our internal services funds, totals $4.97 billion. And so that's the big piece. Capital, everything is included in that number at $4.97 billion. The general fund portion of the budget, which we'll be talking about more tonight, is $1.9 billion. And that's how we pay our day-to-day bills. That's how we take up our staffing and all of our day-to-day services. And so you'll get a chance to hear more about how that budget is being allocated, what we're proposing. This budget definitely reflects the priorities. As I mentioned, we want to continue to deliver what we've been talking about and from a culture standpoint is to providing a service-first approach and doing that now. We know that there are unmet needs in many parts of our community, and how important it is for us to get it right. And so our budget this year, the theme of our budget is reimagining and realigning for results. We've taken a hard look and we have identified ways that we can be more efficient, we can streamline processes, we can ensure that we have looked at redundancies across the organization. We found ways to leverage technology and be able to take care of the ongoing growth of our city. So with that, we want to give you an opportunity to hear the video so you can actually hear about how the budget is actually divided. You can hear all of the major investments that we're making, and then we want to open it up and give you an opportunity to ask us questions tonight. So with that, are we ready for the video? Okay, we're going to start the video and then we'll be able to go right into our Q&A portion of the evening. Okay, thank you very much.
Advisor Tolbert's recommended budget. Hello, and thank you for joining us at the City of Dallas Budget Town Hall meeting to discuss Interim City Manager Kimberly Visor Tolbert's recommended budget for fiscal year 25. Resident feedback and engagement plays a vital role in determining budget priorities. As part of our budget development process, we engaged residents and we will continue to seek their input through public hearings and budget town hall meetings such as this one. The budget for the City of Dallas is more than just a list of revenues and expenses. It is an expression of the priorities and values of our community. The total recommended budget for fiscal year 25 is balanced and totals $4.97 billion. The budget is divided into two main categories. We have the operating budget and the capital budget. The operating budget funds the day-to-day services and activities provided by the city. The operating budget is composed of 4 different types of funds. The general fund totals $1.9 billion and pays for police, fire, parks, code enforcement, as well as many other services. The general fund is paid for property tax, sales tax, franchise fees, and other governmental revenues. The city operates 7 different enterprise funds. They each operate as a separate business, and the fees paid by the customers fully support each business. Debt service is the part of the city budget where we pay the debt for our general obligation capital improvements. This is also paid by property tax. Other than the operating budget, the second primary category is the capital budget, which includes our long-term capital investments. This part of the budget totals $912.3 million and includes street improvements, facility renovations, pipeline replacement, and other long-term capital improvement projects. Revenue from property tax is the single largest source of revenue for the city's general fund. It is important to remember that only a portion of your property taxes are paid to the city. Most is paid to the school district, county, hospital district, and community college. Your tax bill is determined by the value of your property as set by the Central Appraisal District, exemptions approved by the city council, and the tax rate set by the city council. For the 9th year in a row, the city manager has recommended to lower the property tax rate. The recommended reduction is 3.1 cents and would lower the tax rate from 73.57 cents to 70.47 cents per 100 valuation. Our second largest source of general fund revenue is sales tax. In Dallas, the sales tax rate is 8.25%, with 6.25% going to the state, 1% going to DART, and 1% going to support the city of Dallas. As I mentioned, there are several services provided by the city that operate like a business. They pay for all of their expenses through fees charged to their specific customers. For fiscal year 25, the typical residential customer will see an increase in charges for water, sanitation, and stormwater. Water customers will see a 1.4% increase or 99 cents per month for the typical residential customer. However, your costs will depend on how much water you use. Sanitation customers will see a 4.6% increase or $1.75 per month. Stormwater customers will see a 4.95% increase or approximately 48 cents per month. The fee increases will allow the city of Dallas to continue to provide quality services in drinking water, trash pickup, and other critical services to residents.
That's the original one?
New this year, the city will launch an environmental cleanup fee to address litter and nuisance abatement along public right-of-way, homeless encampment cleanup, and establish a severe storm reserve. The fee is $3 per month, and it will be assessed to all city residential and non-residential utility customers. We have organized the biennial budget and aligned our major investments by the 7 pillars of our foundational structure. This slide reflects how we are tying it all together. The foundational structures are rooted in our City of Dallas core values, led by 3 guiding principles to connect, collaborate, and communicate. We are mobilizing our entire team to deliver on our commitment to service first with the urgency of now. This slide shows each of the foundational structure areas and compares the recommended budget for fiscal year 25 in blue and the current plan for fiscal year 26 in orange. The amounts represented on this slide include all city funds, both operating funds and capital funds, both the general fund and enterprise funds. As you can see, the largest investment in both years of the biennial are made in safe and sustainable. Over the next few slides, I will provide highlights of major budget investments aligned to the foundational structures. Let's start with SAFE. Our number one priority is public safety. We strive to be the safest large city in the United States by serving and protecting our diverse community with equity, integrity, and respect. The city will continue to provide market-based compensation and step increases in accordance with the Meet and Confer Agreement for our uniformed employees. We will keep Dallas safe by hiring 250 police recruits and implementing an incentive program to retain officers. We will enhance the fire department staffing model by adding 63 firefighters and 4 single-function paramedics to strengthen the response to our medical calls. In Vibrant, we have reimagined services for children, youth, and young adults by increasing awareness of opportunities and connecting residents to programs that serve all stages of life. We will preserve the expanded library hours across the city and implement innovative service delivery methods for the Skillman Southwestern area. We are enhancing the quality of life for residents by investing in new park and recreation infrastructure, maintenance, and governance at Fair Park, along with security enhancements across the park system as part of the Dallas Park Strategic Plan. We are building on growing. This requires changes in the way we approach development. We will ensure planning, zoning, and permitting are directly aligned in a cohesive workflow to elevate the customer experience for our development community by combining the Planning and Urban Design Department and the Development Services Department into one department, Planning and Development. We will implement the revised Dallas Housing Resource Catalog to align programs and projects to the areas that serve residents most in need. In the Livable portfolio, we will continue partnership for the real-time rehousing program to reduce unsheltered homelessness. We will improve the quality of life and the appearance of the community with new funding through an environmental cleanup fee, and we will continue to review best practices for residential solid waste collections. In the Sustainable portfolio, we will begin implementation of the $1.25 billion General Obligation Bond Program approved by the voters in May of 2024. We will invest $124 million in funding for street improvements and maintenance of approximately 676 lane miles, alley maintenance, sidewalk projects, and bridge maintenance. We will launch Clean Sweep, a proactive citywide program to keep Dallas and external partners' public right-of-way clean, and we will continue advancement of the Comprehensive Environmental and Climate Action Plan and recognize CCAP across city departments. As mentioned, the city manager is proposing a reduction in the tax rate for the 9th year in a row. Additional tax relief is possible as a result of the city council approving an increase in the exemption for homeowners who are over 65 or disabled to $153,400. We will continue to recognize employee performance through continued implementation of the annual merit program, and we are increasing the minimum wage from $18.50 to $19.25 per hour in fiscal year 25. We will ensure the fiscal soundness of both the Dallas Police and Fire Pension System and the Employee Retirement Fund with increased city contributions. CORE supports the city's goal to be a high-performing city. We will create a single front door for internal and external communication through the Office of Communications and Customer Experience 911. We will invest $26.2 million to address city facility maintenance needs, and we will invest $85.5 million for replacement of equipment and vehicles. So what's next? Following the budget town hall meetings that run through August the 29th, the city council will have an opportunity to consider amendments to the city manager's recommended budget before they adopt the budget on September 18th. Then the real work begins. The city manager and her team will go to work implementing this budget on October 1. To learn more about the budget, please visit us at dallas.gov for more information.
Okay, time for questions. Did everyone get a pamphlet here with a budget? A handout? Did everyone get one? I mean, if you don't have one, someone will bring one to you. So this is the time we're going to ask questions about the budget. And before we get started, we want to make sure to know that this is a city manager recommended budget. Every year, When we do the budget, the city manager give a recommendation of the budget. So we're here tonight to talk about the budget, upcoming budget, and we have staff here to answer all of the questions. So I'm gonna get started. So therefore, we have a mic. And, okay, so I don't know if we can do this. Take the mic to me. You got one more. So, Priscilla have the mic, and so therefore, if someone from the department want to come and answer a question, they can come up here. So it's open to answer a question for the budget, okay? Anyone got any question, raise your hand.
Ms. Robinson, you have a question? Questions?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Renee Robertson. I'm the Environmental Commissioner for District 8. And I looked at the plan. It's a good plan, but some things were kind of missing, or they were so broad, I may be mistaken. I didn't see any funding for climate, environmental stuff, things of that nature. And and as far as the permits, I'd like somebody to elaborate on which permits you'll be working on. Because we, on this side of town, we have a lot of environmental justice going on, and some of it has to do with permits.
Yes, I can do environmental for sure. Thank you so very much for the question, and I'm going to go through it. In the budget summary, it just gives you kind of a highlight of our ongoing investment and our focus around our comprehensive environmental and climate action plan. And so one of the things that we've done this year is that we have focused on not making the implementation of that program be just about that one department. This is about all of the various departments that truly impact our ability to deal with and continue the effective work that we have to ensure as it relates to reducing greenhouse gas, improving quality of life, looking at emissions, climate change, creating a healthier, equitable, and more prosperous Dallas overall. So I'm going to go through some of the highlights that you may not see. And again, if you go to the actual budget document online, there's a whole section around CCAP that you'll be able to go in and it'll talk a little bit more directly. But in the 24-25 budget, I'll highlight under our facilities and real estate management department, we do have the rooftop solar revolving program. What we've added to this budget is an additional $500,000 because it's important for us to invest in the maintenance of those solar panels. So we're going to be doing that, and that funding has been included in the proposed budget. That will allow for us to do the preventative maintenance as well as the regular cleaning schedules of those panels. In addition to that, we're going to continue the work as it relates to outreach, engagement, all of the promotional activities that we need to do to talk about environmental resilience overall. And so there's another $500,000 that has been added to this budget to really help us expand and elevate our outreach. In addition to that, in our equipment and fleet management department, we've added $620,000. That's going to help us create additional infrastructure to support charging stations for city-owned fleet. We have $2.1 million set aside for fleet replacement, which will be moving us to the electric vehicles. That's something that we've talked about, and we're actually able to move that forward in this budget. Through the Dallas Water Utilities Department, as we look at water conservation and rebates and incentives, we've included $4 million. That's an investment in this budget that will allow for us to continue with the conservation program that we started in early 1980 and will allow for us to do things like leak detection programs, continue the work around vegetation and how we reduce irrigation water use. And so that work will continue through that program. We're also continuing the partnership with Amerisco Inc., and that's for us to look at ways that we can do cogeneration of overall generating electricity. And so we're going to be continuing to focus on that in the budget. In addition to that, we have $1.9 million to help us with our zero waste goals. And that will continue to allow for us to look at reuse and how we maximize recycling efforts. In sanitation services, we're going to continue to expand efforts as we talk about reducing illegal dumping. which is everything from facilitating batteries, oil, paint, antifreeze, and all these different types of chemicals that we know are out there in our community. Through our code compliance department, we will continue the work around Keep Dallas Beautiful. Through the public transportation, and public works department, which is a new name department that we've recently consolidated, we will continue our LED lighting initiative. This budget includes $700,000 investment to continue moving in that direction. So that's just a highlight of some of the details that are included in the budget around all of our environmental activities. And so the other question on that, was it permitting? I lost track of the second part of your question, I'm sorry.
How will anyone evaluate the impacts it will have on this community? The second part was on permits. Will anyone be evaluating how permits affect neighborhoods when they're issued?
And are you talking about permits as it relates to environmental?
Yes.
So through our current CCAP program, they work directly with our planning and development team as it relates to new construction activities. So that's a part of our standard process that we do now. So none of that will be changing as it relates to the implementation of the budget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you speak to, thank
They
you.
said they can hear you in the back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
They
am I talking loud enough?
They can hear you in the back.
Uh-oh, okay.
Would you speak to the impact on residents of the increase in the fees and various services? And how does that stack up with the proposed reduction in the tax rate? And will the average homeowner actually end up paying more in the end or less?
Thank you, sir. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to move the podium. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you so much for the question. And so, of course, the actual reduction depends on the value of your home. I think that was mentioned in the video. And so I think what we've done, we've looked at an average median home price, I think of $385,000. Ivan, correct me if I'm wrong, that if that's the average, then that tax rate reduction from a dollar standpoint would be about $97. So when you go to the slide and you think about the additional fees that were included, one of the things that we want to make very clear, we don't just increase fees because we want to increase fees. Many of the fees that we've talked about as it relates to water utilities, sanitation, and storm drainage is because of the increase in the cost of providing those services. And so the way we do the math is that, of course, those you would be paying your bill anyway. And so if you take the delta between the additional amount depending on your use, because the water fee is based on your usage, your consumption, then on average, I don't know if we're using that same $97 number, it could be anywhere between maybe another $20 that you'd be paying more than what you pay right now, Jeanette? 74 total? So if you think about the fees, if you're looking at the consumption number, if you're thinking about that median home price, then you'd be somewhere around $74. Did that answer your question? Okay, thank you. Are y'all still having trouble hearing us in the back? I'll keep talking. I'll try to talk louder. Thank you.
Do you have any funds for at-risk youth in the bond program?
In the BUN program. Not in the BUN program, because the BUN program is typically for capital needs, but in our budget, we're continuing our investment. What we have looked at as we've reimagined the way we deliver services around our youth is that we are now creating a youth division as part of our Office of Community Care and Empowerment. And what that's going to allow for us to do is to look holistically at the way that we take care of our youth overall, whether it's park and recreation programs, library programs. And so we're looking at the whole life cycle from our children who we continue to invest in through our WIC program to all of our youth programming as well as our young adults. And so we are excited about the way we've looked at this a little bit differently. In there, it includes after-school programming, there's programming through the summer, and all of those programs through this budget will even be, I would say we're elevating the importance, but it's now going to give us an opportunity to have a true repository where we can see our overall investment in youth. So that work will continue through the budget.
So how much additional funds are there?
I don't know the additional number. I can tell you what that total division will include. We have a youth commission that we fund every year, I think to the tune of $90,000. We have a college advisory commission, but let us get you the total number of what that youth investment is.
Right, because we have a lot of at-risk youth, and,
Yes.
90,000, 100,000, I mean, we need some.
We'll be able to give you the total.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll look it up for me. I just don't have it in
Because
my head.
well, let me just say this here, we fixing potholes which need to be fixed in our community.
Yes, sir.
But we have at-risk youth that's committing crimes because of lack of opportunities, that's ended up in juvenile and end up in prison. And, it's a large, when you do the calculation, Dallas County they send about 14,000 inmates to prison every year. And, I think that we need to start working with the at-risk youth because some programs.
Yes.
Somebody's not working if we send in 14,000 to prison. It's not working.
Thank you very much for the question. It is something that we've continued to look at even through a lot of the programming that we're getting from the federal government as well as our state funding. And so this is an area of concern overall. We continue to look at ways that we can increase additional partnerships, and that's us working directly with the school district, other nonprofit organizations that are really invested in the very thing that you've talked about. And so for us, it's about making sure that we know all of the opportunities that we have to invest and then be able to demonstrate that in the budget. So we'll get you the total number and how we're continuing that investment.
My nonprofit get involved with the youth problem. Okay, how could my nonprofit get involved? Because we're doing this free because we see the need. I own Skyline Ranch, and we're working with youth and making a difference. I got a lot of kids that didn't listen, went to the penitentiary, but I got a lot of them that listen, and they managers at Walmart, some of the police officers, and so. But they in an environment that they grow up in an environment where everything is negative in many cases.
Thank you for that. And I don't know whether or not if we have anyone in the room from the Office of Community Care and Empowerment, and I don't know if we have a Park and Recreation represented, but we can definitely take down your. Oh, Renee is here. Renee, do you want to come up for a minute? Because I know we've had the opportunity to do a lot of new partnerships, even through the Park and Recreation Department, so Renee can come up and share with you what those partnerships look like and if there's opportunities for us to partner. We're not going to turn any partnerships away.
Hello, I'm Renee Johnson. I'm the Assistant Director for Park and Recreation, and definitely we can speak to you after the meeting in regard to partnership. The Park and Recreation Department, I think we definitely do a fabulous job, if I say so myself, in regard to partnerships. We have a teen access pass that is available to thousands of youth that live in our community that can visit places like Parole. We have our teen programs, and we have late night activities at recreation centers. So we have 42 recreation centers to get connected to in the park department. So if you have youth, we need to get them connected to those locations. And we also have employment, our aquatics program. And so we employ so many youth in our aquatics program in those places. So there are places that you can connect. We have partners. So if you would get with me after the meeting, I can connect you to the proper individuals that we can speak to you and create access to for those partnerships.
Yes.
I have one question someone asked. They said on this budget, there's a $3 fee they're gonna be asset, and they want to put a $3 fee is for and how it's gonna be distributed.
Thank you very much for the question. And so this is really a cost recovery. What we have looked at is an opportunity for us as we think about not only the growth of our city, but how we can do a better job in continuing efforts to clean our public right of way. So this fee will allow for us to have the additional support that is definitely needed in how we clean up litter, how we mow all of the public right of way. It will give us an opportunity to have, and the breakdown of that funding, I'm gonna put my glasses on so I don't mess this up, is that it really will go to 3 different areas. One department, it will go to sanitation. That will help us with the ongoing support that we need to have in the event that there is storm debris and cleanup. I know that many of you are aware what we just went through with the most recent storm when we had a lot of bulk that we needed to pick up. And it will also help us with our Office of Homeless Solutions and how we're able to proactively and more frequently clean encampments. And that fee will also go to, I'm missing one area, Jeanette. Transportation. That's going to help us. So the fee will actually be utilized in 3 different departments. But it's all about how we, as a city, can be more proactive in how we clean up our city, debris removal, illegal dumping, the whole 9 yards. And so that's what the purpose of it is. But it's truly about cost recovery.
I believe there has been reductions in weatherization and solar installations. How is that going to affect the demand for those 2 services, given what the utilization rate was or is for those services now?
I don't know if we have anyone in the room from our Office of Environmental Quality. When I talked about the solar programming now, we actually included in our city facilities solar, but one of the things that we realize is that we can continue to add. However, we need to do the preventative maintenance to keep the existing panels that we have working properly. And so that's our focus right now, is instead of continuing to add, let's do the maintenance to make sure that those panels are really, truly giving us the results that we need. I don't know about the actual weatherization. Do you see someone in the audience? Oh, coming up, Sheila. Sheila's here from the Office of Environmental Quality. I think he's talking about whether or not we had any reductions in weatherization. You probably need to use the mic.
Sheila Delgado with the Office of Environmental Quality. Yes, the reduction in weatherization is because in reality we are still promoting the services that the county and Encore are providing for the weatherization for the residents of Dallas. And we will continue to do that. So if you visit the wholehomedallas.com page, there is all kind of information there on how to weatherize your home. There is information there also about community solar. And for the community solar, what is happening is that pretty soon we are going to get an award, a big grant. I don't know if you have heard, but the state of Texas earlier this year was awarded $249.7 million from the EPA Solar for All grant. And we are partnering with Dallas County for that grant. And so we are waiting for the Texas Coalition for All and Dallas County to announce how much is gonna be for the Dallas County and for the city of Dallas per se. So that will come this fall. We are just waiting anxiously because we know it's gonna bring a lot of help related to community solar for all the residents, or for all the residents in Dallas.
And so let me add too, one of the things too, when we think about reimagining, one of the opportunities that we have is how do we, as a city, continue to find additional funding sources. And so when Sheila talked about the grants and how we're able to use other people's money, that's really what we want to do. This budget does include about $150,000, but we can use that to go and leverage additional resources. So thank you, Sheila, for sharing that detailed information. You have, okay, sure. We have some cards.
Yes, we do have questions on cards. So for those departments that received a card, do you want to come on up and read the card and the answer?
You want me to read them out loud?
We have some cards back here.
You got some more cards?
Commissioner Austin from our Senior Affairs.
Okay.
She has a card right here. She would like for me to speak out. She's right here. She doesn't want to stand. She says she just learned this in a Senior Affairs meeting. She says they're cutting funding to dental program. Will this impact services to seniors and cause the program to cease? That's the first question. The second question is, isn't this a partnership with Baylor?
Was that it?
That would be
All right. Thank you very much. And so let me be clear. As it relates to the senior dental program, it is a program that we believe is important. We have been working over the last few months with Dallas County to where we can utilize that support to be able to continue that program. So when the budget begins on October 1, the program is not cut immediately. And we will be working to ensure that the priority around that program and what it does provide to our seniors, that there's a way to be able to do it. And so thank you so very much for the question. I do know that that's a concern that we've heard, and we're definitely working through that partnership to ensure that that commitment continues through that program. So thank you very much.
We have one more right here. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm trying to figure out if the investment of 124 million, do that include sidewalks in residential area?
When you talk about the 1.4 million, so let me back up. So in the budget, we currently have about $124 million that we're doing in our investment going into 24-25 to actually continue work around street maintenance, alley work, sidewalks. None of that will actually discontinue. Are you talking about the sidewalk program per se as it relates to seniors? I just want to make sure I understand your question.
What I'm asking is if that 124 million, do that include residential area for sidewalks?
My name is Gus McCarty. I'm the director of the Department of Transportation and Public Works. So the budget includes about $60.3 million dedicated for sidewalks, out of which $60 million are from the DART excess tax and $300,000 from the $124 million that we have in the general fund. So if there is a specific location, happy to take the information and then we'll follow up to see if that is included in the current planned projects. And also,
Is that going to affect residential areas? And how much is that going to District 8? She said, how much is that affect the residential area in her neighborhood, in her area, where she lives?
yes, ma'am.
Not on the corner, not, on the side roads. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to just communicate that.
So let us do this so we can make sure that we are looking directly at your area. We'll do an offline and make sure we get your address so we can share more information. This is not the funding that's also included in the bond program, so we want to make sure that we're answering the question accurately. And thank you so much, Priscilla, for articulating that for us so we could get it.
Then we talk about the sidewalk, in certain districts, we got discretionary money for sidewalk. We had ARPA fund money for sidewalk. So there is some money left in District 8, District 4, District 3, but you have to give you a street name, the address where it might be, then we can identify that. But in the overall budget, we do have money to fix the potholes and streets right there. That's a different separate amount. But if you give us the address, we can let you know. Okay.
Okay.
I have a comment and also a question. My comment is I'm very encouraged about the investment that you all are making in public safety. Looking under the safe pillar that you have here, keep Dallas safe by hiring 250 police recruits, which we know that our police officers are overworked and understaffed.
But the question I have in regard to public safety, and this is more future looking, I'm aware that there is an amendment, a proposed amendment that's going to be on the ballot this November regarding public safety and a imposition or a mandatory increase in the number of police officers that by charter will be required by the city. So if that is passed and that number is beyond the 250 that's being allocated in this budget, how do you prioritize the reduction in other areas of the budget to accommodate that?
Thank you for the question. Let me just say, we've had this conversation publicly last week as we were going through the final amendments that would be going forward for the propositions that you'll see on the ballot in November. The one thing that we've talked about, let me start with capacity. We've talked about our proposed goal to hire 250 officers in '25 and another 250 officers in '26. We know that the reality is that we're going to have some attrition as well. And I think the attrition is estimated to be about 190 per year. So we hire 250, we lose 190 each year. So the total that we would say would be the net would be about 120 officers over that 2-year period. Now, we clearly understand what this measure is. We've talked about the additional costs that we would definitely have to upfront in order to be able to hire those officers. But the reality is that in the last 6 or 7, well, I would say the last 5 years, it has even been difficult to even get to the 250. And I don't even believe that we've hired 250 in the last 5 years. So we believe that it will be very difficult. We would be looking at how do we either reallocate and identify somewhere between another 150 to another $175 million in order to be able to hire that many officers at one time, and understanding that our current training capacity is right about 250 or so. So it's a challenge overall, and our city attorney is sitting right here on the front row, so I can't talk too much about saying things against the measure, but what I can tell you is that it would be a process that we would have to go back to the table and find ways to take additional reductions across the entire organization, which would definitely impact service delivery. So that's my answer. That's all she's gonna let me say anyway. All right. Okay, thank you. I could tell the way you were looking at me, you were gonna ask me about the charter. All right, other questions? Do we have more cards?
Yes, I have a question. I have a
Yes,
question. Lori Blair. I have a question in line with what Mr. Franklin asked and what our police officers, well, our chief, they explained about the need for overtime. If that charter amendment were to go into effect, and knowing that there is a capacity that we can only obtain and not exceed, and that based on what was explained in council, how is that all going to impact those numbers if that amendment goes into effect and you have to rearrange all that money?
I'm gonna defer to the Mayor Pro Tem. It would require a lot of rethinking across the board. And I think that's just a reality. You know, it's not like we have $150, $175 million like sitting over on the sidelines waiting for us to do something with. So I'm gonna defer to the Mayor Pro Tem because I have 15 bosses, but I will tell you that it would be a process that we would have to go through. Someone asked the question this way: if it goes into effect day 2, are we going to be out of compliance with the charter? And my answer is we would be out of compliance with the charter.
So then, is there a plan, I guess
I believe that, and Tammy correct me wrong, so I want to get to the point, we're in a public facility and a public mic, we can't talk about it. So offline,
I'm always on the.
you know, in the street somewhere, on the sidewalk somewhere, you can talk to me on the head, but I ain't gonna talk in public about it, but we cannot use that. But if you do this, if whatever happened, it's gonna hurt city. And that's what we can say. So therefore, just read whatever you need to read and get me offline, give me in the parking lot. And I'll talk about it.
Okay, yeah.
That was good.
I'm
That's good.
sorry.
Nothing like a good boss, right? Thank you. And we definitely didn't want police talking about it either, so I definitely did not call on him. So, thank you. Yes, sir.
My question is about homeless solutions.
Yes, sir.
Are we increasing funding for homeless solutions? And what is the city doing for as moving homeless solutions for the city of Dallas?
Thank you so much for the question. So let me answer it this way. We started in 2021 a new initiative, a complete collaboration between the city, Dallas County, Dallas Housing Authority, the Housing Forward, which is our local continuum of care, City of Grand Prairie, City of Mesquite, and the City of Plano. It was an all-in collaborative approach to where we could begin to look at how do we move our unsheltered residents into housing, but including all the wraparound services that they needed. And so that was about a $72 million investment. And to date, since the start of that program, we have housed through many of those diversion activities, being able to provide rental subsidies, the whole 9 years. We've actually been able to support over 11,000 individuals who would still be on the street. Going forward, there's a couple of things that we're doing in this upcoming budget. We're continuing to invest in 14 outreach workers to help us in the field. It's important for us to have consistent touch points in how we are engaging with our unsheltered residents. Oftentimes those touch points have to happen often to build trust and to really get them to where they want to work with us to identify and be able to get them into services. So that will continue in this upcoming budget. We're also going to increase our funding to support what we call our overnight shelter beds through our one adult shelter, the Bridge. We've been at the same level, about $12 per bed per night, and that cost is about $66 a night. So we're increasing our funding to be able to support, because we want people, if they want to be in the shelter, we want to be able to provide for them to stay there. In addition to that, we are now increasing our goal. We've had about a 24% reduction overall in our unsheltered residents out in encampments, and we're going to up that to have a 50% reduction by 2026. So this budget will continue those investments and help us continue to reach that goal of 50% in the next 2 years. So thank you for the question.
Okay, we have one right here, and then I'll bring it back to this chair.
I know we need officers, but are we looking at alternative ways in order to try and reduce crime, like cameras in the parks? We get a lot of calls in my neighborhood with gunshots and other things going on in the park, and I just think cameras, and sometimes a sign might just deter somebody from doing something. I see no signs that say don't litter. That might help. I see no signs in the park that give you the park rules. I go in other cities or in and around Dallas, and they have park rules. They may read or they may not read. However, if it's not there, they don't know. So are we investing in alternatives?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for the question. And I do know I've got one of our officers here, but let me talk about the parks. One of the things that we've done, there is a park, there's a whole security plan, strategic plan around our park systems. We are looking to increase, you talked about cameras, camera trailers, and ways that we can more proactively be able to have through our park safety and security plan. So there's an investment of about $400,000 in this year's budget. It continues that goal to be able to have cameras and additional security in all of our parks in this upcoming budget. And we've also included in this budget additional funding for even the new parks that are coming online to ensure that as those new trails and parks then come into service, that we have the funding there to support those to the tune of about $1 million. Do you want to talk a little bit more about other? Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Deputy Chief Stephen Williams. So I'm actually the crime plan, Deputy Chief over the crime plan. So the city has made significant investments. Starting in fiscal year 24, there was general fund allocations of a little over $200,000, and there's additional increases in 25. In addition, we've leveraged existing external sources from our federal partners, our Texas Motor Vehicle Crime Grant, in the excess of we're bringing 225 cameras of FLOC or ALPR cameras. By fiscal year 25, we'll be at almost 700. So there is a significant investment from the city and to leverage our external partners, in addition to other CCTVs that are going to be procured through additional funding through grant processes that, as Interim City Manager Toller mentions, that we leverage for those. But we are leveraging and investing heavily in those resources to find efficiencies within how we deploy the resources and officers respond to crimes.
How do you determine the stormwater drain charges? You know, I have properties that has no water, no sewer, and I'm being charged for stormwater drain.
There's a complete rate analysis that's done, everything from the cost of maintaining the system to all of the analysis around the estimated runoff, and so there's a complete analysis that we do annually to determine what those fees are.
But it's no street, you know, I have some property where there's no water, no sewer. The water's just falling on my property, and I got this big fee that I'm being charged.
Yeah, we just charging you for the other neighbors across the street. I'm just playing.
Nobody.
We found you some friends, and so we charged you.
Well, none of us have it.
We'll get the exact address, and we'll be able to kind of talk about and
Okay.
tell you more directly about how that's done, especially in your area. You have a question? Okay.
I have Ms.
I want to make sure, Robert, I do understand that the subject you bring up, it came up many, many years ago in the budget. We have a whole lot of people who do not have stormwater drain, and they get charged a stormwater fee. We went through that scenario many years ago, so it might be the time to look at it again, because the fees that you're paying for is too much, you know. But you do not have a stormwater drain. They say, hey, while I'm paying for the fee of stormwater, I don't have a drain. So that's something that we might want to look at and bring it back in the budget and see how we do look at it.
And also, I have property that the city street, all the water's draining on my property. So now I have a pond, so I'm the one that should be paid.
We just wanted to spread out the love. No, we'll work directly and based on Mayor Pro Tem's comments, we'll definitely look at it and get that reviewed and be able to get the address to your property. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you all so much for this meeting. My question is, are we still doing community service work in lieu of fine and court costs to help our senior and disabled with lawn services, minor home repairs? Is that service still available?
Yes, we do not, those are not things that we, in the budget that have been reduced, and it continues to be a priority. Again, most of what we typically lay out in our executive summary in the budget are some of the key drivers and then anything new. But the continuation of those services are important, and they're continuing in the budget.
Yes, know that senior adults can call if they need lawn services.
I don't see, I asked earlier, oh, municipal, thank you. You got the answer, Greg?
Yes, I will provide over the number.
Oh, he can give you the number. Okay, come on up. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Greg Nelson, Director of Municipal Court. I'll be able to get you that number, Ms. Gibson, so you can use it however you like. The number that for seniors to call. Yes, ma'am. I'll be able to get that number offline. I have to get it for you. Yes, ma'am.
But you don't have it now.
I have it. No, I have to look and get it out of my email, but yes, ma'am, I have it. I'll be able to give it to you, be able to provide to you.
We're gonna go back and get it now, we'll bring it back to you.
So we're gonna get the number, and we're gonna do a public service announcement in just a few minutes, so everybody can write it down. But we'll definitely get you, I need the number too. So- Thank you for the question, thank you. Do I have
Yes.
your staff in the back?
I do have a quick follow-up question regarding the security cameras at the parks. You are spending $200,000 plus some from federal sources to implement the cameras. Well, are these cameras actively monitored, or is it just more of a camera that will alert the police who did something after the fact?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the question. So in addition to the flock, so those cameras provide ALPR hits regarding stolen vehicles, missing persons, critical missings. All right, can you hear me now? How about now? Can you hear me now? Is that better? All right, I'll talk like that. So, yep, slow down. So that investment was for the flock cameras, which is about the $200,000, which provides the ALPR. So those hits go in real time to officers in the field and then to the real-time crime center. In addition to that, the department has made an investment in a project called Connect Dallas. Maybe you've seen that. That is called a Fusus thing. That platform allows us in real time to create a single pane of information. So we get 911 calls for service. We're able to see all the fixed units, all the CCTV, all the license plate readers, every mobile radio that's traveling throughout the city. And we're able to see those assets in real time layered on top of each other so that we can see it and deploy it in real time. So it's basically taking all the silos that the police department has for intelligence and resources and puts it all in one plane. So there is an efficiency already in place that we are deploying for that.
Okay, so we have that telephone number. Come on up here, Greg. Greg walked up here without the number.
The number's gonna be 214-670-7129. Thank you.
Gonna repeat that again, just in case.
It's gonna be 214-670-7129.
That's for lawn services and minor home repair senior adults.
Yes, that's the number. You contact that number and they'll be able to get you taken care of.
670-214-670-7129. Oh, Miss Gay.
Ms. Gale. Thank you. I wanted to find out how many full-time employees will be fired.
Wow. So let me say that as part of the budget, we did a complete, what we call the position management overview, to look at positions that have been sitting on our books that have not been filled. Maybe they were needed for certain activities, like within certain departments, to make sure that they had enough, position management numbers, all that good stuff. And so we were able to clean up vacant positions of a little over 300. And in addition to that, through our reimagining that we've done with some of the realignment, I think there was a total of about 50 employees that we needed to make sure that there would be other opportunities in the organization. It's my understanding, I think as of today, we may have anywhere from about 18 that might be still looking for opportunities. But in a city of our size, with an organization of our size, and with the type of budget deficit that we faced going into the budget development process, I think we've done a really good job of making sure that we could maintain positions and not have as much impact to our staff.
And the other part of that question is, with some of the departments that I think I understood you to say that were merged?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that including those?
Absolutely. So altogether, with the department consolidations that we did, we started back in early June, looking at ways that we could increase efficiencies and how we could actually flatten the organization. Altogether, I think we were able to realize estimated savings of about $6.5 to about $7 million, and all of that would be included in the number that I just gave. Yes.
I guess if you look at the numbers at 541 employees was laid off or whatever, but there was not exactly 541 employees. Someone did not have a position. So can you explain to that? It was vacant. Can you explain that to them? It was not total 541 persons got laid off.
Yeah. So that was not people. There were positions that had been vacant longer than a year that we were able to eliminate. There were positions that we had designated to be able to have, extra positions that were needed across certain departments that had not been utilized that we were able to clean up. So it was not 541 people. Did that answer your question? Okay. Some of that was just position management cleanup.
We look like we have one more. Okay.
I just wanted to, regarding the community services for the senior citizens, what does it consist of as far as minor repairs? I mean, can anybody detail that out, what the minor repairs consist of? And also, are there any stipulations in place for the seniors in order to get the services done for them?
I don't have all the details, and I don't see, I'm trying to see if anybody will stand up in the back that I can't see. But it is it's part of an entire set of services, and it's based on need. And so we do have individuals that work from a case management perspective and helping identify how to connect seniors to those services. And so definitely can spend some time with you, maybe offline, and talk about any particular need that you might have to ensure that we can get you connected with the right individuals. And I see a former employee in the back who wants to answer the question.
Ms. Gibson?
You guys, it's an excellent program. And I'm sorry, thank you so much, Ms.
Okay.
Gold, for giving me this
Not a problem.
opportunity. My name is Diane Gibson, and it's really an excellent program because I don't think I need that. And here's what the program does. And for defendants, whenever they commit Class C misdemeanors, in lieu of fine and court costs, they get to do community service. And believe it or not, they really enjoy doing it. So a group take them from community court, take them to your home, and it's always supervised. You have to sign your waivers and everything. But the services is always supervised. Staff is always with them. We take them there and we bring them back. Plus, if they work a full 8-hour day, they get a hot lunch. They support the vendors right there in the community. And those minor home repairs include, minor painting, not like a full paint job, just minor painting. Some of them have broken fences, so they may do minor repair on that. But also, a lot of our seniors are on fixed income. So guess what? They help with the lawn services too, by mowing your lawns, trimming the hedges and what have you. And it's at no cost to you, but it's also benefiting the community service person, the defendant, because a lot of us don't have money to pay fine and court costs. Right. So they work it all by helping our senior adults. Right. So it's a win-win situation. Plus, they mostly go to court just for quality of life crimes, and they participate in life skill classes, helping them find jobs. And they have a drug program and a veterans program. So if you have drug abuse, that's free for the treatment, to get some treatment on that. And then again, I can't say it enough, we celebrate 20 years in September of that community court being available. But the number you all need to call is 214-670-7129. And it's just an excellent program. And once we get a date, join us for the 20th anniversary of the community court in South Dallas. Thank you, Ted.
Will y'all give her a round of applause? We're going to put her on the honorary employee payment list. Thank you. All right.
I wanna thank you too for that explanation for the budget. But as I was looking over the budget, you may not can answer this question today, but I may qualify, but I hear people talking about jobs, people in high places talking about jobs. I just want to know, is there any department that's got black jobs? I may qualify.
What I can tell you is that we're increasing our minimum wage. And we have currently the highest minimum wage for any municipality in the North Texas region. And when we raise it to the $19.50, we will be in the top 2 in the entire state. So that's a priority, and we're continuing.
Black job. I'm sorry, that was a joke.
trying to make me lose my job. I don't even have it good yet. All right.
Ms. Kim, can we tell the councilman thank you? They painted
Yes.
our streets today.
Yes, thank you. So we want to make sure, again, if there are questions that you have, even beyond tonight, please send those questions directly to Mayor Pro Tem Atkins' office. He will work with us to get answers back out to you. That way we can keep Priscilla working. But we definitely want to make sure as we go through these next few weeks, if there are other questions that you have an opportunity to hear from staff. And so, council member, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
I guess I got one question. I think the lady in the back, we're talking about cameras on the park, and we're talking about flock cameras. In this budget, did we have this in the budget? Is that a grant?
No, there was fiscal year '24 and fiscal year '25 funding for flock cameras.
So there is a funding?
There is general funding.
Is there some funding left in the budget?
There was funding appropriate and allocated.
I didn't say appropriation, I said there's something left in the budget, so you brought it up, I'm trying to find out how much is left in the budget. What is the amount in the budget today? Because I know everyone hearing this, I know all other districts say, where's my 5 cameras, where's my 6 cameras at, so I'm trying to make sure District 8 gets some. I'm trying to get my camera. But I also want to thank Tracy Gunn, the constable, please. Hello, thank you for coming. Hear me? I think she's looking at it right now. We got time for one more question. Anyone?
I want to ask, when can we get the streets on Patrol Way fixed? Is that money in the budget for Patrol?
We spoke about that today, 2017 budget. I brought it up, and it's 7 years later, we still ain't got it fixed, and hopefully we're gonna have a meeting over here anytime, in a couple weeks. We do have the money, we have the funding, but we're gonna talk to the administration, talk who in charge, and say, what's the holdup? The money is there, but the work ain't done. The Patrol Way, right here. It's a 2017 bond package. It's not a budget, it's a bond package. Any more question? One more, who?
I don't have another question. You asked.
Okay, last one. You last one.
Hello.
Somebody take your question.
I understand, we also heard in our commissioners meeting that the city was going to cease some of their funding with DART for some of the rideshare programs. Is that true? And how will it affect seniors?
Thank you again for the question. So again, it's back to the partnership piece that I spoke of. We are actively working with DART to be able to support that program and be able to continue that beyond the funding that the city currently has. And so thank you for that question. In fact, I have the DART Executive Director this week where we're going to continue to find ways to make sure that that program does not cease beyond the funding that's been allocated. So thank you for that.
That was the last question. Thank you for coming. Be safe, drive safe. There are more town hall meetings in the future, but let's give everyone a hand of applause for all the staff for coming.